I mentioned earlier that Weevely allows us to run a number of very useful functions on the target server if we manage to upload its shell to that server. So in this lecture, we'll see how we can convert our basic shell access to a Weevely shell. So I'm going to create, first of all, I actually have connection here coming from my Metasploitable machine, and my privileges are just normal www data, as you can see. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create my Weevely shell first. So we've done this in the file upload vulnerability. So it's very simple. All you have to do is just run Weevely and then generate to create a shell or create a backdoor. And then we're going to have to set a password for that backdoor. And I'm going to set it to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then state where do you want to save it. And I'm going to save it in root. And I'm going to call it shell. Now, in the file upload vulnerability, we actually created the shell with PHP format. Right now, I'm not going to create it in PHP because I have to download it from the Metasploitable machine. When PHP files are downloaded, the source code will not be downloaded with them. So if I create it as PHP and download it from the Metasploitable machine, it's not going to work properly as I want it. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to create it as txt, and then rename it once I download it at the Metasploitable machine. All I have to do now is upload it somewhere that is accessible by the Metasploitable machine. So in real life scenarios, you want to be able to upload it to somewhere where you can directly access the shell. In this lecture, because we're doing it in our local environment, I'm actually going to just put it in my web server in my Kali machine, which is accessible by Metasploitable. So I'm just going to do cp to copy, and I'm going to copy root shell.txt, and I'm going to copy it to var www HTML, which is my document root in Kali. And I'm also going to start my web server. So I'm just going to do service Apache 2 start. And now Apache is running. So I basically have a web server now, which contains this current file. Let's see if the file exists. So I'm just going to come here and I'm going to go to my local host. So pretty much I can just do localhost, but I'm going to put my IP, which is 10.20.14.2.13. And we called it shell.txt. As you can see now, we can see the code for the actual backdoor. This is very important. So when you upload it to a server, make sure that you can access the shell directly like this, and make sure that when you access it, you can see the code without anything on the sides, with no ads, with no banners, with nothing showing up around it. So you can literally access the bare code. Once you do that and you have this URL, all you have to do is just download it from the Metasploitable machine. So at the moment, this is my Metasploitable machine. So if I do a uname, just to confirm, you can see that I'm actually connected and inside the Metasploitable machine. So all I have to do is download it. But I can't download it anywhere. I need to download it somewhere, again, accessible by my Kali machine so I can connect to it. So you want to download it somewhere within the document root, within the var www or whatever document root your current website uses. So if I do a pwd, you can see that I'm inside var www dvwa vulnerabilities. So I'm going to do cd back to go one step back. And if I do an ls here, you can see the files that we have in this current directory. Now, let's try to download the file in this current directory. Now, sometimes you won't be able to download files depending on your privileges or permissions. So I'm just going to do a wget, and this is the download command. So wget can be used on Linux systems to download any files. So you literally just do wget, and then you put the URL that you want to download. So the URL that we want to download is http 10.20.14.2.13. And then we call the file shell.txt. Now I'm going to give it some time to download. And then I'm going to do an ls again. And as you can see, we have a file called shell.txt. Now this file is uploaded on the metasploitable machine inside DVWA vulnerabilities. Again, if we do pwd, you can see that we have DVWA followed by vulnerabilities. So let's go and try to browse it in here and make sure that it exists. 10.20.14.2.12, which is, that's where our DVWA is. And then we're going to go to vulnerabilities. And our file is called shell.txt. But I didn't put the DVWA before it. And as you can see, we can access the file now, which is uploaded inside DVWA vulnerabilities. We can see our shell.txt. Now again, this is not good enough because it's not getting executed. So now all we have to do is change its extension to PHP again. And again, we're going to do that from our basic shell access right here. So we're going to do mv shell.txt to shell.php. And then do ls to make sure that the process was done properly. And we can see that our shell is called shell.php. Now we can connect to the shell using our Weevely client. So we're just going to do Weevely, give the shell URL. So our URL, the shell is stored now at HTTP. So this is where you uploaded the shell. So it's exactly the same URL as this, but with .php because we changed the file extension. I'm actually going to copy this. And I'm going to set this to PHP. And then we're going to put the password, which is 123456. Make sure you put the same password that you set when you created the backdoor. Hit enter, and as you can see, we're inside the target computer. We're inside this target. And we can run all the commands that Weevely allow us to do. So we can just do an ls, a pwd, and all Linux commands, plus all the commands that Weevely allow us to do, all the functions that Weevely allow us to do, which we're going to have a look on in the next videos.